Welcome back to another episode of the Bull in the Cup podcast. I'm your host, David.
And I'm the co-host, also David, David's dad. All right, welcome everybody. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. We are back, Season 2, here we go. So with our structure for Season 2, we're going to hit every episode, we're going to cover three things. We're going to cover first the lesson of the week, kind of merged with what's going on in the world. Second, we're going to do this new feature where we each are going to follow a specific stock every single episode and track what's going on with that specific stock this week. And then third, we're going to play our weekly stock game that everybody loves. So message us if you have a stock to pick. So for this week, we want to talk a little bit about, we have so many options to put your money into different things for investing. And we want to talk about this idea of what options gives you a certain level of certainty and comfort, and what options have not very much certainty at all, and what's kind of the upside of each. So David, talk to us about, what are your options when you want to invest your money?
Well, there are a lot of options when you invest your money. Yeah, and I'll just be talking about some of the main ones. One, it's not really investing, but really just to keep your money safe, is the bank. You're not going to ever lose money there, and its interest is really slow, so that's more like what I suggested, like emergency funds, like good amount of money, but like you can't expect to make money on that. And then second is real estate. It's a bit more volatile. You can lose money, but it's like close still to like a calming, like slow, like going up and down thing.
If you can afford it, a lot of money to get in real estate. But yeah, go ahead.
And then finally, there are index funds and bonds, which are a lot more safe than normal stocks because, for example, S&P 500, it has 500 different stocks, so even if something goes down, a lot of them are supposed to go up, so it'll still make money. And statistically, like things like the S&P 500 and different NASDAQ, these types of things, they are like around going up 12% a year. So they're like steadily riding upward. And on average, if it's a long-term thing, you can't like leave it in there for like a month and expect a big return for like an S&P 500 NASDAQ type thing.
Oh, I love that you're throwing some percentages in there. So, and I like to think of things as like a pendulum, like if you drew a line out, and on one end of the line, you could say the most certain thing you can do is put your money in a bank. And if you put $1,000 in a bank, with certainty a year from now, you're going to have $1,000. You might have an extra dollar, right? But you're not earning much interest. On the far other end, you could technically gamble with your money. That would be a terrible idea, but it would be very uncertain on the other end, right? And you could put $1,000 on something and lose it all and have nothing. So you don't want to be over there in the uncertain world. You want to be closer to the certain world. But the problem, if you go all the way to the bank side, is you're not earning good interest. And as you said, David, you can still be close to the certain side by putting money in an index fund or mutual fund, like you said, the S&P 500, and earn 10% a year on your money. So that $1,000 would turn into $1,100 on average, and a much better return than a bank. So I think that's a great way to think about your money options. All right, I think we're ready. Let's roll out our new format. Do you want to go first or you want me to go first?
I'll let you go first.
All right, I'm going to go first. So we're picking a stock that we're going to follow every single week. So I'm going to follow the same stock. David's going to follow the same stock. And we're going to talk to you each week about why that stock moved, how much it moved that particular week. So we're really going to deep dive in here. I've chosen Amazon because for me, Amazon is a line well, they have multiple lines of business, but it's kind of can be reflective of what's going on in society. If the economy is doing poorly, people have less money to spend on things, so revenues for Amazon would go down, and you'd think their stock price would go down. And so I picked Amazon to follow. Just one thing I want to point out, when you invest in a company, you want to look at all the different ways that company makes money. And so Amazon, we all know we get packages at our door. Some people do it a lot and get packages every day. They order lots of stuff for their house and everything they need from Amazon. But other than that, there's other things Amazon invests in, right? Amazon has AWS, which is its on-demand IT services. So They provide virtual servers and cloud storage and a litany of services for the IT market, and they're investing heavily in that. And that's one source of revenue stream. They also have like Prime Video. A lot of people watch movies and television on Amazon Prime. More sporting events are now showed on Prime. So they have multiple revenues or sources of revenue, and we're going to deep dive into them. For the year, just real quick before we go into your stock, Dave, their stock price on January 1st was $220. Now it's $211, so it's down $11. And that, again, speaks, I think, to 2025 has been some uncertainty and for the year. And a lot of that has been to do with the tariffs going on. And so we talked about certainty versus uncertainty in terms of where to spend your money. Also, it applies to specific stocks. And the more uncertainty that's going on in the world, you're going to see dips in the stock market. We saw it with COVID when that came out. We saw it with the recent tariffs. You may see it right now with a lot of the protests going on. And so uncertainty kind of scares people away from the market because they're not sure how the market will react. So but also can be a good opportunity to invest when things come down after times of uncertainty. So anyways, we're going to deep dive more into Amazon each week. But talk to me, Dave. What stock do you have for your weekly stock we're going to follow?
Well, for my stock pick, I chose GameStop. And I know I've been kind of talking about GameStop a lot this year, but I actually have some confidence in it. It's in like a nice point right now for a rebound. At the beginning of the year, on January 1st, it was around $32. Now it's $22. And I don't know. I have some confidence in it. As always, you always have to hope that Roaring Kitty doesn't sell, so then you don't lose all your money. But other than that, I have some confidence in GameStop.
No, I like it. And I think you can see, too, we talked about certainty versus uncertainty. The 2025 has been marked with uncertainty. People don't know how the tariff world is was going to impact things. And so there's been some uncertainty. And we see stocks, a lot of stocks are down. GameStop's one of them. But that, again, we're trying to time things to say, after times of uncertainty, when the market goes down, is that a good time to jump in and buy a certain stock, right? So we'll see. We'll be monitoring GameStop and seeing how that goes the rest of the summer. Okay, so we'll follow those. We'll get more details on those stocks. If you want to do some research on those stocks yourself to track along with us, feel free. Now it's time for part 3. This is our weekly game. Do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
I'll let you go first.
Okay. So I'm going to, this is not a rule. You can pick stocks we picked last season. But for season 2, I'm going to pick new stocks that I didn't pick last time for a weekly game. And sticking with our theme of where to invest your money, right? Where are options to put your money. Not just investing, but where to put your money. I'm going to go with Chime. Chime IPO'd this week. IPO'd its initial public offering. So it's where a business first enters the stock market, right? Some businesses never enter the stock market. In-N-Out has wonderful hamburgers out west. They're not on the stock market. So, but Chime has had its initial public offering. It's now at, I believe, $34 per share. It just came out. It is an online banking company. So we're kind of thinking like Venmo and some of these companies that are new and trying to create a market here. Advertising themselves, Chime is no fees, which frustrate a lot of people to have fees that they have to pay to keep their money in the bank. They have certain level of overdraft protection, some nice opportunities to build credit and pay friends, whether they're on or not on Chime. So it's a little bit risky when you go with an IPO stock because there's no history there, so we don't know how it's going to react. But I do like a lot of what I read about with their business model, so I'm hoping it has some upside and can continue to take off now that it's part of the stock market and, again, gets access to additional money from investors like all of you investing in them. They take that money and they try to improve their company and grow it. So I'm going with Chime. I think it's the company is CHIME, but CHYM is the stock ticker, so we'll follow it for the week. What do you got, Dave?
Well, mine is a different pick than I normally choose. Mine is Kroger.
Oh, right. Like Kroger, where we go, like Ralph's.
Yeah, Kroger has been like all of these. Is honestly a really like not that volatile of a stock. It's like it's volatile, but not like insanely volatile. So it's more like a bit safe. And like the rest of the stocks, like for places like Kroger, Ralph's, it's been dipping a bit through like like all like people being like afraid with tariffs and everything, and I feel like this is like a time where it could go back up. So
Oh, I love that one. That really fits within our theme of certainty versus uncertainty, right? On the one hand, your grocery store, no matter what's going on in the world, people still need to eat. So there's a certain level. It's not like the grocery store is going to go out of business. So there's a certain level of certainty and comfort you have in investing in a grocery store business, right? But there are going to be fluctuations, right? Where, like you say, things like tariffs will cause, and inflation issues we've had over the last 2 years, it will cause prices to go up, and that'll cause people to have to, scale back and buy less, and that can impact their profits. So there could be some movement there, right? But again, certainty because people still need to eat, right? So that's a wonderful pick. All right, well, we'll see whose stock does better over the next week, and then feel free to make comments in the chat and send us your picks for the week, and we'll see how you do compared to ours. But thanks for joining. Welcome back to season 2. Anything else, David?
no, I think we're good. Bye.